Hello everyone, Ronix from Ronix Photographer, and welcome to yet another brand new retouching tutorial. And in this tutorial today, we're going to be learning about how to retouch lips in Photoshop. So this is going to be basically a tutorial basing on how you can retouch lips in Photoshop. So first of all, I'm going to be showing you guys the areas we're going to be touching in this tutorial. And in this tutorial today, we're going to be learning about cleaning up the lips in general. Then we're also going to be doing some little bit of frequency separation. Then we're also going to be doing dodging and burning, and we're also going to fix this area which doesn't have the lipstick, as you can see. And now we are going to start be learning about those specific areas for this very tutorial. And before I can go ahead, let me first create a brand new blank layer like this. Just come and click there. Then I'm going to get a color so I can emphasize the areas that we are going to be handling for this very tutorial. So I'm just going to get a blue brush, and I'm going to start showing you guys the areas we have to tackle for this very tutorial. So first of all, we want to retouch the area around the lips, because you can't have lips without the surrounding area. So we're going to be retouching this area. You can see this area right here, like the skin area in general. Then we're also going to be first of all removing these hard particles, or I can say the roughness of the lip area. You can see those they are like blemishes on the lip area. Then we're also going to be fixing this missing lipstick right here. We're also going to be fixing that. Then we are also going to be cleaning this little area. As you can see, the lipstick went somehow on her tooth or her teeth. Then we're also going to be fixing this lip so that it can kind of match. You can see these two sides are not kind of balanced. You're going to be fixing that. Then we're also going to be adding some little bit of shine to these highlights right here. So basically that's what we're going to be doing for this very tutorial. So unlike my usual tutorials, this might be a long tutorial because it is the first of its kind on this channel. So stay tuned as I take you step by step for the retouching of this very image. So I'm going to come and I'm going to delete this layer. So first of all, we're going to start by cleaning up the skin or the lip area that we are going to be retouching at the very end of this tutorial. So we're going to start by duplicating the background layer by clicking Ctrl J or Command J on the keyboard, or you can just simply drag and drop on this new layer icon to make a new layer. So on this layer, I'm going to use the spot healing brush tool in order to clean up the skin area of our model. So this is the spot healing brush tool. So I've created this is more of a backup layer because I don't want to work on my background layer. So you can decrease or increase on the size of the spot healing brush tool by using the left and right brackets on the keyboard. So I'm just going to dab over the blemishes I want to get rid of first on the skin area. So I want first of all clean up the model's skin before I can get into the major emphasis for this specific tutorial. So let's just clean up, and this is not going to take a long time, so you shouldn't mind or worry so much, because lips are part of the skin is part of the lips, so you have to make sure you clean that area too, because someone looking at the lips will as well have to look at the surrounding areas on the model's lips. So you have to take that into consideration. So let's do this cleaning up, because remember, blemish removal, like I've always said in my tutorials on this channel, blemish removal contributes over 60% to your overall retouching of most of your images. So you have to really take that into consideration. So let's see what we have so far cleaned so far. So as the before and after, we have just cleaned up with that within just a few seconds. So let's do this cleaning up like this. So you shouldn't mind if at all you have missed out on some blemishes, because after this we are going to be doing some little bit of frequency separation for the skin. So you shouldn't mind. So I want now to clean up the surrounding area. That's why I had to zoom in all the way, because I want to clean up these areas too around the lips. So just dab over to remove. And this is like a reminder to you guys, if at all you're doing your retouching or cleaning up of the lip areas, you shouldn't remove all these, because it is going to create an unnatural kind of look on the lip area. So make sure you you erase or remove those patches from the lip area, but you shouldn't remove all of them, since you want to retain as much as naturalness as possible. So just come and clean up these tiny lipstick cracks, I should call it so. So like I said, keep on checking so that you don't really go overboard. So keep on turning this on and off so that you don't go overboard. So let's just clean up these tiny areas, and it is these simple steps that are going to transform the lips at the end of this tutorial. So you shouldn't ignore any steps. So I hope you guys are learning something from this tutorial, and yeah, let's do this. And I have really been getting so many requests about doing a tutorial about how to retouch lips or lipstick in Photoshop. So this tutorial is basically about that in general. So let's just remove this. So you shouldn't, like I said, you shouldn't remove all of them, but you should make sure you remove those that are really visible to someone who's going to be looking at it. So let's do this. So keep on checking on your progress so far. So you shouldn't go off this tutorial, because I'm going to be sharing with you guys the life-changing and important, the most important steps you have to follow for when you're trying to do the retouching on the lip area of your model. So you shouldn't go off. So I hope you guys are paying close attention to whichever thing I'm doing, and as usual, for all my tutorials, I prefer not to forward anything, because I want you to follow the transformation. Yeah, I don't want to forward anything so that you just look at it like I've done magic to the image. So that's why I tend to do everything. I know someone recently told me like I talk too much, but it's because I'm just wanting to go an extra mile to show you how everything is done, so that you don't waste time by watching this tutorial. I want it to impact your career. Sorry, I want it to have an impact on your career in general, so that you can really improve on your photography levels or skills. So let's keep on checking the progress so far. So that was the before and after. Before, after, you can see what we have just done with just the cleaning up. You can see it is now starting to get transformed. So you shouldn't worry if at all you miss out on some areas. So I think we are done with cleaning up. So like I said, we are going first of all clean up the surrounding areas or the skin area around the lips of our model. And in order to do that, we are going to be doing frequency separation. So remember, this was the cleanup layer. So I'm going to rename this clean up, like that. So we're going to duplicate the clean up layer twice by clicking Ctrl J or Command J twice, like that. So these are going to be like my frequency separation layers. So like I said, like I usually say in my tutorials, frequency separation is a skin retouching technique that divides the image into two. That is, it gets the skin tones or the colors, it puts them on one layer, and it also gets the textures and puts them on a different layer, so that when you combine both of the layers, you get back your image the way it was initially before. So I'm going to do that in a bit. So remember, the skin tones are usually below the textures on our skin, so textures are usually exposed. That's why I'm going to name this layer low frequency or skin tones, or I'm just going to name it tones, or some people call it color. Then since the skin tones are since the skin textures are usually on top of our skin tones and they're usually exposed, that's why this texture layer has to always be on top. So the top layer is usually the texture or high frequency layer. So as usual, when you're creating your frequency separation groups, first of all, turn off the texture or high frequency layer so that we blur out and remain with only the colors or the skin tones on this very layer. And in order to do that, come to filter, and you guessed it right, come to blur and come to Gaussian blur. So make sure you get an area that seems to have more texture, and for this case it is the lips of the model. So you're going to move this slider until we are seeing less of these textures on the model's lips. So let's move this slider until we see less of those textures on the model's lips. I think this is really fine. You're going to go with the radius of 5. So you have to slide until you remain with only the colors and the skin tones, and you can no longer see the skin textures like this case right here. So click OK and select your texture or high frequency layer and activate it by clicking on the eye icon, like that. Then come to image and come to apply image. So when you come to apply image, you get this little window right here, and when you get this little dialog box or window open, make sure, remember, for this layer we only want to remain with the textures. So in order to do that, we have to subtract the textures from the low frequency layer. So come to the blending mode and click subtract and select your low frequency layer. Remember, we are subtracting from the low frequency layer so that we can remain with only the textures. So make sure your opacity is 100, the scale is 2, and offset 128. And like I usually say, we have to get a 50% gray for the image. So that's why you have 2. And remember, the RGB is 256. So when you divide 256 by 2, you get 128. So come and click OK. So you'll get your textures, like you can see, like this. These are your textures, and you can no longer see the colors quite well or the skin tones. So come to the blending mode and change it from normal and click on linear light. So when you do that, you get back your image initially the way it was before. So you have to put these two in a group by clicking Ctrl and clicking on both layers, and click Ctrl or Command G on the keyboard to group them. So we're going to name this layer, for purposes of being uniform, frequency separation. So basically we have created our frequency separation groups. So when you turn this on and off, there shouldn't be any difference at all between the cleanup layer and your frequency separation group, which means we have successfully conducted our frequency separation for this image. So open your frequency separation group by clicking this drop down icon like that, and select your texture layer and come to adjustments and create a black and white adjustment layer like that. So when you do that, make sure you slide this until you have gotten, remember we first of all want to refine the skin of our model like that. So that's why I've darkened this really much. So we want to see where the skin tones are not transitioning really well for the model skin, so that we can blend that using a mixer brush tool. So come under the brushes, right click and look for a mixer brush tool, and if you don't have it, mine is just right out here. This is my mixer brush tool. So when you get it, make sure it is a clean brush, and make sure this right here is selected. And the purposes for doing so is because we want the brush to clean itself when you are trying to blend. It will do it automatically. So make sure wetness is 9, the load is 75, the mix is at 90, and the flow at 100%. Make sure sample all layers is not marked or selected. Make sure there is no tick in this tiny box right here. So select your skin tones. Remember, we only want to blend the skin tones of the model. So make sure you do that. So increase your brush size by using the left and the right brackets on the keyboard, and just blend those areas. And remember, when you're doing this, make sure you blend what you see as the midtones alone, the highlights alone, and the shadows alone. So when you're using this mixer brush tool, don't paint over the lips, because you're going to drag some color off the lips to the skin area of the model, which will not look nice at all. So just mix the midtones alone, the highlights alone, and the shadows alone. So remember, we're just doing the skin retouching process, yeah, before we can refine or retouch the lips of our beautiful model right here. I know you can't see a face, but yeah, she's beautiful judging from her lips. So let's just do that, and let's see a progress so far. So we're going to turn this off by clicking on the eye icon and just toggle this before and after. You can see we have just done some wonderful job with just few strokes of a brush. So we can continue doing that, or you can as well work without the black and white layer and just continue blending in order to see each and every area really quite nice and well like that. So just take your time while doing this, because it is going to be like a close-up image, and people may use it for marketing reasons. That's why you really have to take your time while doing this. So I think we are done using a mixer brush tool. So you can as well reduce it and just come and blend right on top of the model's lip like that. Just blend like that. So let's say before and after, before, after, before, after. I hope you guys can see the difference right now. So we're going to delete the black and white layer and get the lasso tool. Make sure the featherings are between 22 and 24 pixels. I prefer that. And alias is selected, and get your lasso tool. So we're going to refine the skin area like that. So make sure just come and make a selection on the skin area. Resist from painting or selecting the lip area of the model. Then come to filter and come to blur and come to Gaussian blur. So when you do that, make sure you slide this until you get the best skin texture. So you have to slide while you're looking at your image. So make sure you slide until you find a sweet spot for your skin texture. And for this case, I'm going to go with 15. So we're going to be applying that. And the reason for doing this is because we may have missed out on particular areas where we are using the mixer brush tool. So this is more of refining our retouching or blending the skin tones even more. So just come make that sweet selection according to the shape. Like I say, don't select over other areas like that. So right click and click on Gaussian blur. You can see how beautiful this area has turned out to be. So let's say before and after for our skin. So this was the image before, after, and the overall for our, from the very beginning, this was the image before, and this is the after, before, after. So right now what we are going to be doing, we are going to be, first of all, cleaning up the image even more. Yeah, I hope I made sense. So in order to do that cleaning up, we are going to come and create a new blank layer, first of all, like that. So this layer is going to help us to affix this missing lipstick on the lower lip of our model. So get your brush tool like that, and what we are going to be doing, we are going to come to the brush tool. It is selected, come to opacity, make it 100, and make the flow around 12%. Click enter and just zoom into this area. We want to affix the lipstick, and we are also going to be fixing the lipstick on most of the areas we feel should have been having lipstick for this very image. So we are going to come, and now you can see this. I hope you can see. Hold down the alternate button on the keyboard. So you have to sample from an area just close to where the lipstick is missing. So hold down alternate and click on that area and just come and paint like that. So make this alternate and just paint over like that. So like that, hold down alternate, sample from this area and just come and paint like that. So basically we're just trying to fix those areas that are missing lipstick for this very image. So since we are having some kind of shadows right here, we are going to select a darker tone like around here and just continue painting. So you don't have to drag it completely. Make sure you select from that darker spot and just come while painting on those areas that are close to the area you're sampling from. I hope I'm making sense. So just continue doing this, and you really have to take your time. You shouldn't rush any step. So let me do this. So we are also going to blend these lip areas some little bit more, because we want a refined part of the lips for this model. So let's what we are doing basically right now, we are just trying to fix those areas that had missing lipstick for this very model. So basically that is what we are trying to do right now. So let's say before and after so far. So that's the before after, before, after. You can see we are just trying to fix those areas like that. So I'm just holding down the alternate button, sample from a closer area and paint just above it, because it is only the above area that is missing the lipstick. So I have to sample from the color that has the lipstick and paint over. So that's the before and after, before, after. So I'm going to continue doing that, and you can see this. You can see this area right here is missing the darkness. You can see that. So I'm going to sample from here, and I'm going to just paint over that area to kind of make it blend even more with the other neighboring areas on the lip. So basically, we are just trying to fill up the gaps that may be missing out on lipstick. So just remember, we are going for a more refined look of the lip area, but as well wanting to maintain the natural nature of the lips of the model, because we don't want to overdo this. So we're just sampling from an area closer and just fixing the missing lipstick like that. So just continue doing this. So let's see for our fixing what we have done so far. So this is the before and after, before, after. You can see what we are just doing right now. So you can continue doing this. So now we have this tiny line right here. So we want to fix it. So you can just hold down alternate sample from this area and just come and draw that line to refine this line on the lip of the model. So I have to sample from close to that and just refine that. So sample from here and just refine that. So that's the before and after. You can see what I'm just trying to do. I'm just trying to make a fine line just of the lip of the model like that. So just come and continue refining like that. You shouldn't be in a hurry, because we want to have a beautiful image at the end of the lip retouching. So let's do this. So let's zoom out and we see what we have done so far. So that's the image before, after, before, after. We are progressing really quite well. So let's come and sample from here and paint over to make a finer or a more fine selection. So let me refine this top line of the model's lip like that. I think we went overboard. So like I said, so that's what we are doing. So that's the image before, after, before, after. So we are now going to sample from above the lip of the model, like on the skin area, like close, and just refine this line. Sample and just draw. Sample from here and just draw over that. So we are sampling from the skin and we are just trying to get a more refined line of the model's lips. So for this highlight, we're just going to sample close to where it is and just refine like that. So sample from here and just refine like that. So let's say progress so far. So this is the image before, after, before, after. We just are refining the lips. So we want to do a little bit of cleaning up for the lips of the model. Yeah. So this is going to be, we're going to rename this fixing. Yeah. That layer is going to be called fixing. So we're going to create another layer like that. And we are going to remove more of the, we are going to be removing more of the blemishes or the imperfections on the lip area. And for this case, get this right here, and we are going to just dab over those areas like that to clean them up. So that's the before after. So you have to be creating different layers if at all you feel you haven't done enough of the cleaning up. So just do that, and after this you're going to be adding a little bit of touch up to this very, very beautiful image, and that is going to be refining the highlights and the shadows and enhancing them even more. Yeah, we want to add a little bit of shine or glow to the model's lips, because we want to make them look really nice and more attractive. So we are just trying to clean up on the model's lips like that. So we are just using spot healing brush tool, because it is easier to use when you are doing retouching for quite a small area like the lips. So we are just cleaning up even more while we retain the naturalness of the lips of our model. So that is it. So let's see it from a distance, and I will continue refining it even more. So we're going to come right here and just clean up like that. So let's see the progress so far overall. So this was the before and after, before, after, before, after. You can see the difference we have just made. So right now we're going to be refining the highlights and the shadows for the lip area of our model. So in order to do that, we're going to be using dodging and burning technique. So you're going to come to the adjustments, and you're going to create a curves adjustment layer. First of all, we are going to brighten it up like that. Make a midpoint and drag up. Make sure this layer mask is selected. Click Ctrl I to hide this effect. So we're going to name this Dodge, and come to the curves again, and this time around, you guessed it right, make a midpoint and drag it down to darken. So we're going to make sure this is selected. Click Ctrl or Command I on the keyboard, and you're going to name this burn. Remember, when you're dodging, we dodge the highlights, and when we are burning, we burn the shadows. So we're going to put these two in a group. Ctrl or Command, select the two and click Ctrl or Command G. So we're going to name this Dodge B and B for dodge and burn. I'll abbreviate that. So we're going to open this like this and come to the dodge. First of all, get our brush tool and make sure this time around the flow is at 100, and now the opacity is going to be at around 9%. And remember, when you're dodging, we dodge the highlights, and in order to do that, make sure white is on the foreground or on top, or you can just toggle or click X on the keyboard to toggle between the black and white, or you can just reset it if at all you have a different color right here by clicking on these two boxes. So make sure white is on top, because we want to reveal the dodge or the brightest curve layer we just applied. So we just want to enhance the shine on the model's lip like that. So just paint over to enhance that a little shine on the model's lip like that. So let's see what we have done so far. So that's the before, after, before, after. So you can just continue adding that little shine. So we are going to come to the top lip and just enhance this line on top of the model's lip, like that. Just enhance it. So we're going to come to the burn and make sure it is still the same settings, and we are also going to enhance the darks or the darkness on the shadows of our model's lip. So basically we're just trying to enhance those areas like that. And if at all you feel you want to brighten some areas that you think should have been dark, just come and just paint over those areas to brighten using your brush, like that. So we're using a white brush to brighten up the areas we feel should have been bright. So this is why you have to take your time, quite a lot of time, while retouching the lip area. So you should take that into consideration. So come to the burn and burn these areas too that you feel should have had shadows. So that's the before and after for the dodging and burning, like that. You can see the transformation we have just made for this very image. So let's see the before and after for everything we have done. So this is the before and after, before, after. So we want to fix this line right here on this other lip. So in order to do that, we are going to create a stamp visible layer by clicking Shift, Alternate, Control E on the keyboard, and duplicate that layer by clicking Control or Command J. Then we are going to come to Filter, then come to Liquify. So we want to push this side so that it can look balanced enough to look better. So we're going to make sure it is in its default settings. Yeah, this is what we're going to be using, the forward wrap tool. So we're going to push this down a little bit. So reduce the brush size by using the brackets on the keyboard, Ctrl Z to undo. So you can just increase it according to what you feel is right. So we are basically trying to balance the lip area of the model. I think this is fine. So click OK. So this is the before and after, just a subtle difference. So we're going to brighten up the teeth of the model and come to filter and come to camera raw filter. We're going to zoom into the teeth like that. So get your adjustment brush tool. Make sure the temperature is -29 because we want to remove the color or yellowness from the lip area. That's why I've taken it towards the cooler side. The tint is 71 and the highlight is at 2, the white's at 4. Remember, we are removing color from the teeth, and that's why the saturation is at -74. The rest are left at the defaults, and you're just going to paint over the teeth to give them that little kind of shine. Make sure you only paint over the teeth, because when you paint over the lipstick, it is going to bring a natural or fake result. So remember, when you paint over the lipstick, it is going to desaturate the lipstick. So I think you're done with that. So click OK. So basically, this was the image before, and this is the image after. Before, after, before, after. You can see what we have just done with just lip retouching. And if at all you love this tutorial, don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel if at all you haven't subscribed this channel. I'm Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in yet another retouching tutorial on this channel or behind the scenes that I'm also going to be starting soon. And don't forget to support this channel because I keep creating for you guys, and I hope you also keep creating.